And when Reagan Johnson is up, a lot of teams play. Oh, that is not where I meant to put that. Okay, so now it won't let me clear the screen. But anyway, there is a big shift on the left side with the outfield where right field is completely abandoned. When we had Arkansas against OU, they had 5 infielders behind the pitcher. So all kinds of different shifts are played against Reagan Johnson. More of a slapper, has a lot of speed. They're trying to beat her and make it very difficult for her to find the left side, which as a slapper, that's what you want to do.
Down on the count, 1-2. Back-to-back all SEC center fielder. Among the program's best ever offensively. And one of 6 returning starters from last year's Arkansas team that lost in the Super Regional in Game 3 to Ole Miss. It's a team that has played with a little bit of a chip on its shoulder all season after the way last year ended.
Yeah, you know when the postseason hits and just, well, we'll start the SEC tournament and the regional tournament will be after that. You know, a lot of eyes will be on Arkansas to see how they're going to perform trying to make it to their first Women's College World Series. Such a big shift that when Reagan Johnson is up. But we're seeing more defensive shifts in college softball in general, but it's wild to look out on the field and not see a right fielder over there.
A lot of open green.
I mean, Caden Henry is basically playing left field or left center field for that matter, and then Ashton Maloney, who's the right fielder, is playing dead center field. So interesting how defenses choose to play Reagan Johnson.
8th pitch of the at-bat. Full count. She has been exceptional throughout the course of her career at getting on base, top 5 all-time in OBP. Payoff from Tegan Cavan. Into the shift. And a 9-pitch at bat is won by Tegan Cavan, 1 down.
It's amazing the speed of Reagan Johnson, that even a hard hit ground ball to third base is a close play at first base, where it's close enough where Reagan Johnson's running through, showing to the umpire safe sign. I mean, it was such a bang bang play. That's how fast she is. Track like speed over there.
Ball 1 to Brindley Bain, freshman from Eagleville, Tennessee, having one of the best freshman seasons of any first-year player in the SEC this year.
Yeah, her patience at the plate is something that just jumps off of the stat page, especially for a freshman. She has walked 39 times, only struck out 15. That's more walks than anybody else in the starting lineup by a good margin.
Laser in the left center. That'll drop for extra bases. Bain, thinking 2, is in safely with a 1-out stand-up double.
Courtney Deifel said about Brindley Bain that she has surpassed what we expected, and they already had high expectations for Brindley Bain coming in as a freshman. That just goes to show, I mean, she has surpassed that, hitting almost 400, 17 now doubles, 33 RBIs, all those walks, an on-base machine behind Reagan Johnson at the top of this order for Arkansas.
Ball 1 to Ella McDowell. This is an offense this year, Amanda, that has been very opportunistic. They lead the country with runners in scoring position, batting well over 400. And Courtney Deifel told us, look, our offense looks a little bit different this year. No more Bree Ellis, no more Courtney Day, the Bash sisters in the middle of the lineup last season for Arkansas that hit all those home runs. This year, less power, but still the same explosive offense in terms of the runs they can put up on you.
Yeah, it's a bit of a collective effort is what she called it with this Arkansas team. And I think it's such a big reason, too, why they have to be so excited about Dakota Kennedy getting the start back tonight. She'll be hitting in that 5 holes, so McDowell, Bell, and then Kennedy. Kennedy adds that senior experience, left-hand power hitter that they can reinsert back into the lineup to even more power.
Cue balled off the end of the bat of McDowell. Muffed momentarily by Kavan. Bain easily over to third, and now the go-ahead run just 60 feet away.
That ball had so much spin off of the bat. Ella McDowell is way out in front of this changeup. Look how much it's spinning. It was spinning so much that when it hit Tegan's Kavan's glove, it spun out of her glove.
In steps the senior Tiana Bell. To second base, good on the first, and Tegan Kavan pitches around a 1-out double. The big, after breaking teammate Reese Atwood's single-season home run record over the weekend against Kentucky on the road, leads the SEC in batting average, hitting nearly .470 this year for a very explosive Texas starting lineup. Taking on Robin Herron in the circle tonight for Arkansas.
This is a tough lefty-on-lefty matchup for all the lefties in the order for Texas going up against Herron. She's just been so good. A lot of experience past couple years, especially because she's been the ace on the staff with that experience and veteranship. She'll throw in the mid-60s, little 3-pitch mix with her curve, rise, and changeup. That changeup, not only does it change speeds, but it changes the eye level of these hitters as well, because it has a tendency to go down into the dirt.
And can rack up the strikeouts when she's going well. It's a big series for her, an opportunity to bounce back against a top 5 program.
Yeah, well-located curveball, went up a little bit too. This lefty-on-lefty matchup is so tough for the left-handed hitters at Texas, especially with 2 strikes.
Got hit a little bit on the road at Oklahoma 2 weekends ago. A couple of outings of which she gave up 4 earned runs. But certainly one of the aces of the SEC, taking on one of the most dangerous hitters in the country here with Katie Stewart.
Nice backdoor curveball there from Herron offered to Katie Stewart. When we talked to Mike White about Katie Stewart this year, the first thing that he said about her was just her ownership of this season that she's had when she's been at the plate. Seen her come out of her shell a little bit in terms of more outward with her emotion, and she hasn't always had that. I mean, you think of this series against Oklahoma in Game 3, she hit that walk-off home run. She had the bat toss towards her dugout in that walk-off home run, and a home run over the left field wall that hit the building behind left field.
Comfortable being the one, in the words of Mike White. Whereas last year, it was so clear that the one for Texas was Reese Atwood. Katie Stewart, though, as you said, Amanda, and I think you put it perfectly, coming out of her shell this year. It's been huge for Texas. Takes ball 3. Mike White leading Texas to its first national championship in program history a season ago, returning 8 starters. Plus 3 pitchers in the circle from that team. Stewart down on strikes. That's back-to-back to start the evening for Robin Herron.
This is a changeup. She can throw it through the zone, and she can get you to chase it down in the dirt when she's working from ahead, but she knew here she needed to throw a strike. It's a full count. She froze Katie Stewart, throwing that pitch through the strike zone. Robin Herron, so far tonight, looking really good. 2 strikeouts and 2 hitters she's faced.
Strike 1 to Viv Martinez. Had to watch last year's run to a national championship from the bench. Missed all of 2025 with a torn knee. It brings such a calming and consistent presence to this Texas lineup.
Home run power starting to come in since middle of March. She had 2 home runs, her first of the season in that A&M series.
Sends this to deep center. Back on it is Johnson. And makes the catch a few paces in front of the track. 1, 2, 3.
Texas, my goodness, 16. That's the highest total right there with Oklahoma. And both teams with an opportunity here to not really hurt their resume. If you lose to each other, that's not a big deal, but only to really bolster your resume for the team that wins the series.
Two 2-0 count to Dakota Kennedy. Has missed the last handful of games. Wearing a brace on her right knee after she injured it running up the first baseline in game 1 of the series against Oklahoma 2 weekends ago. And she's beamed. Up to first goes Kennedy.
Everybody getting their first look at her wearing that knee brace on her right knee. The stadium was just so quiet whenever she went down and we were calling that game. But Coach Deifel from Arkansas said, you know, she's a beast, been working through that injury. They're going to start to have her in a limited capacity and then be able to see what it looks like for the rest of May. Remember, she's a senior, so you know she wants to do whatever it takes to be able to get back into the lineup, contribute to this team, and just relish in every game left in her senior season. So the quick thumbs up, by the way, to Matt Michael, the third base coach. Just quick third, maybe just continuing to check on her, right? Like, you good to run? Do we need a pinch run? I mean, when you're a coach and you have an all-star player like Dakota Kennedy, you want to constantly check and monitor on her, especially in her first game. She throws her hands up. Reese Atwood just trying to pick her off over there at first base. On her. Hey, don't get too far off of first base. She's like, hey, I have a knee brace. I have a knee injury over here. I'm not going to get too far off. Senior versus senior. They're back behind the plate, senior, and a senior running at first.
And Reese is ruthless behind the plate. Maybe none better in our sport at picking you off and throwing runners out.
She's so fun to watch back behind the plate. Just a live arm.
Big pitch there from Kavan, running it up to 70. 2-2 count to the reigning SEC Player of the Week, Carly Davison. And that caught a piece of Davison, according to home plate umpire Mark Corris.
Could hear a bit of that, that front elbow guard just clipping it, which is so tough, Matt, because you see, I mean, everybody's wearing these elbow guards, but you see how much it sticks out past the actual elbow. So Coach White's talking to the home plate umpire likely about where that pitch location was, if that pitch location was in the river or if the pitch was in the full batter's box. If it's in the river, you have to make an attempt to get out of the way. If it's fully in the batter's box, you don't have to make an attempt to get out of the way. So just getting that clarification.
Interesting to see Kavan hit 2 batters to start the second inning, Amanda, particularly with how sharp she looked in the opening inning. Got a couple of ground outs, pitched around a double. Mike White's talked to us about limiting those non-competitive pitches for Teagan. But we saw her get hit around a little bit against Texas A&M, and that sort of started a little bit of a slide in April. Now, she's still one of the best pitchers in the game, but maybe hasn't quite looked as sharp as we saw the rest of the season this past month.
That's the last 2 seasons that her ERA in April has been a little bit inflated compared to the rest of the season. But you mentioned that A&M series, and that was, you know, the start of the stretch for Texas. It was a tough one.
Good bunt by Italia Rijo, moves both runners into scoring position, 1 down.
But since that A&M series, so just this year, she's had 12 appearances and a 4.42 ERA. Before the A&M series, a 1.81 ERA. Playing some challenging teams, very good offenses in the SEC that she's been up against.
That A&M series that we called at the end of March was the start of 12 straight games against top 15 opponents.
Arkansas is so good at, when you look at the numbers, they're so good at station to station and execution. Not going to have as much pop and home run power as Texas's numbers, but they score runs in a lot of different ways. Prime example, runner at third base, less than 2 outs. You get that ground ball to the right side to score the first run of the game. Just execute very well. Great piece of hitting by Wyckoff, and a pitch that she could do it with a changeup.
And now Kennedy Miller, who might be the hottest 9 hitter in the SEC at the moment, riding an 8-game hit streak, entering game 1, and she is beamed. No, home plate umpire Mark Corris is going to bring her back to home plate.
And Courtney Deifel wants clarification. Are you bringing her back because it hit the knob of her bat, or are you bringing her back because of the pitch location? She's going to talk to Kennedy Miller here about where it hit and actually go back into the dugout. It seemed like maybe he was saying that it was off the knob of the bat.
That's what I thought. Right there.
Yeah.
But another close pitch from Kavan. 0-2.
Well, you can tell, too, I mean, Kavan, as a rise ball pitcher, likes to work both lefties and righties up and in on their hands. I mean, that rise ball is her best pitch. So these hit-by pitches have been in the upper body, hand area, and that's going to be where she tries to throw a lot of these rise balls, work them inside.
As a hitter, you've seen some of your teammates get hit from the rise ball. Does that change at all the way you stand in the box? Do you crowd the plate a little bit more?
I wouldn't say yet. Like, if it keeps happening, maybe, but just because this is 1 inning, you think, all right, I'm not going to change too much yet. Notice that she's just trying to work everybody inside. You're communicating about that as an offense. The hitters who have been up to the plate, this is what I saw, this is what I'm seeing, this is what it feels like coming out of her hand.
Takes the lead without a ball leaving the infield. In the Atwood leading the charge in this senior class. Goes after the first pitch, strike 1.
Well, and how rare it is to have such a core group of seniors that have been a part of the program since their freshman years. So, of course, Reese Atwood being a big part of that. Leanne Good is on deck. Asha Maloney, the 9-hole hitter who's been pivotal for them, as well as Citlali Gutierrez, who has pitched a lot of big games for Texas. So you have a kind of variety of different types of players in this senior class. Of course, Reese Atwood setting a bunch of Texas records in her Texas career.
Atwood, fly ball, hugging the right field line. Brynlee Bain makes the catch on the run. First out of the inning. Well, coming up after our game tonight, right here on the SEC Network, number 1 Oklahoma, number 12 Texas A&M. Kendall Wells, sitting on 36 homers, is 1 shy of tying a 30-year-old NCAA record held by Laura Espinoza.
1995. That was the first year that Patty Gasso was a head coach, was 1995. The SEC softball wasn't even around at that point.
Oklahoma hadn't won a national championship yet. Hadn't even been to the World Series. Lots changed over the course of 3 decades.
That is a long-standing record. We'll see what Kendall Wells does tonight and does this weekend. Is she going to tie it? Is she going to break it? Is she going to go into SEC tournament still on 36? And, of course, Megan Grant from UCLA is right on her heels with 34 home runs. So talking a lot about Wells, but all it takes is 1 game for Wells to get shut down and a 2-home run, 3-home run game for UCLA's Megan Grant. Maybe she's right there in the mix of things, too.
Pretty remarkable. Wells and Grant chasing this record that was set 30 years ago. We haven't even turned the calendar to May. You saw Jocelyn Allow's numbers on there. She hit those numbers late at the Women's College World Series in June.
And then UCLA has Jordan Woolery as well, who just has over 30 home runs. I think she's at 31. So we have 3 players in 1 season that have hit 30 or more home runs. That has never happened before in our sport. And the fact that UCLA has 2 of them, and UCLA's offense is right up there with Oklahoma's.
A lot of softball left for those 2 teams, UCLA and Oklahoma.
this is when it just starts getting real good. Last regular season weekend, SEC tournament is next week, and then you have the NCAA tournament right around the corner.
3-2 count to Leanne Good. I beg your pardon, it was 2-2, now 3-2. Herron has set down the first 4 Texas batters she has faced in tonight's game, including a pair of strikeouts of Henry and Stewart. And she gets a strikeout here. 3rd of the night for Robin Herron, 2 down.
Well, this is twice in this game that Robin Herron has thrown a full count changeup, and it tells you how much confidence she has in that pitch. Both times have been for looking strikeouts, one to Katie Stewart and then now to Leanne Good. Those are tough outs to get like that.
And it's so hard, Amanda, to contain the top portion of this Texas lineup, which has rarely gone hitless through the first 2 innings this year. 2 down, nobody on, and a 1-0 count to Hannah Wells. In the air to right field. Back on it is Bain and makes the catch on the track. And for just the 2nd time this year, Texas has A&M and Florida Georgia in a big rivalry series. Florida, the #1 team in the country in the RPI entering the weekend. This league this year, Amanda, has been, I feel, exceptionally competitive.
And a few teams that are still working to find their way into the NCAA tournament. When you think about Auburn and Missouri, South Carolina made a statement, a big series win against A&M at home last weekend. That was big for them. So Kentucky will be hosting the SEC tournament, but have a sub-500 record right now, so have some work to do. And this will be the last year that an SEC school hosts the SEC tournament, because then we're going to be in Huntsville, Alabama.
At the home of the Trash Pandas.
At the home of the Trash Pandas. So a converted minor league field. They'll skin it, and we'll have a dirt infield, and they'll do a really great job of transforming that stadium to make it an every year place and event and appointment viewing to be in Huntsville, Alabama for the SEC tournament.
Very much looking forward to that. 2nd time through the order here in Austin for Arkansas. Reagan Johnson worked a 9-pitch at bat against Tegan Cavan in the 1st inning. Razorbacks scored a run on no hits off Cavan in the 2nd inning. She hit 2 batters, just the 3rd time in her career that she's hit multiple batters in the same inning. Arkansas made her pay. Tough play at short, and the speed of Reagan Johnson beats the throw of Vivi Martinez.
Once it bounces twice, Reagan Johnson is on. 1, 2, she's on. As a slapper, that's what you're trying to do, is bounce the ball 2 times. If Vivi Martinez catches that after the first hop, Reagan Johnson most likely is an out, but she created 2 hops. That is what a slapper like Reagan Johnson is trying to do. She created it. Vivi made a great play, still could not get out that speed.
Brinley Bain had the only hit of the night for Arkansas prior to that infield single by Johnson. Doubled off the wall in left center in her first at bat of the night. And now it'll be very interesting to see this game of cat and mouse over the course of the weekend. Reagan Johnson, who has yet to be caught stealing this year, against the reigning Johnny Bench Award winner behind the plate for Texas and Reese Atwood.
Well, and a little bit of what goes into that is, of course, knowing that Reese Atwood has such a good arm, but also that Cavan is more of a rise ball pitcher. So 60 to 70% of the pitches that Cavan throws is going to be a rise ball that gets Reese Atwood up out of her crouch. Better pitches to handle for a catcher is going to be up in the zone. Sometimes she'll go down with her drop and change. Like that.
2nd strikeout of the night for Cavan, 1 down in the 3rd.
Both strikeouts have been on the changeup. This is a perfect location right at the knees, and then that changeup just fell off the table to get the strikeout of Bain, who hit a double off of Kavan in her first AB.
Ball one to Ella McDowell.
That's a pitch in the dirt like that Johnson usually looking for anything in the dirt. She'll try to advance, but really it just shows you the respect that she has for Reese Atwood, where she sees a pitch in the dirt or she's just not anticipating a ball in the dirt.
The last time Reagan Johnson was on UT's campus, it was in a high school track and field meet. You mentioned the track and field speed of their leadoff hitting star. Ran the hurdles, ran all the sprint relays. Just a fantastic athlete at the top of this Arkansas lineup. And frankly, Amanda, somebody that when she gets on base changes the way the game is played, both defensively and the way Arkansas is able to pick you apart at the plate.
Yes, because every defender knows the speed that's at first base and is concerned about it.
McDowell, high hopper, bounced into the middle. Viv Martinez, what a play at short. And two gone as Johnson moves into scoring position.
And right away, speaking of, you just know the speed. Viv Martinez knows as his ball pulls her toward third, I don't have any shot of going to two because of the speed of Johnson. So she could just focus on making that play to first base. She's been tested with a couple of short hops here that got her body around the ball. Great footwork. She is just so smooth at shortstop.
Arkansas, who leads the nation in batting average with runners in scoring position so far, 0 for 4 today with Riz. Tiana Bell trying to change that with one swing. Leads the team with 53 ribbies. Down 0-2.
Went up with the rise ball, got her to chase. Went down with the changeup, got her to chase. Quickly getting ahead 0-2 in this inning. I feel like Tegan Kavan's changeup has been on a different level.
Trying to close the door on the Hogs in the third.
They go right back to that changeup to see if Bell would chase that pitch again, and she did not. Great in-at-bat adjustment by Bell to work it to another pitch. Location and a 1-2 pitch. Kavan had thrown so well, and Bell had shown that she was going to chase. And then look at this pitch and a 1-2 count, just too sweet for Bell that had already shown she chased a pitch at her eyes, already shown she chased a changeup at her feet. She was looking for a mistake like that, and she absolutely punished it. Tiana Bell, and we talk about pickups in the transfer portal. She was a big one for Arkansas. Remember the series that she had against Oklahoma, hit a couple of home runs? She shows up big in the biggest games.
Homered in back-to-back games to start the series against OU, including that game 2 in which the Hogs came out victorious. One of their many signature wins this year. Now Dakota Kennedy. Down 0-2 to start. Was hit in the second inning, came around to score on an RBI ground out by Kaylee Wyckoff. Really just two solidly hit balls tonight against Tegan Kavan. One of them resulted in no damage. The other, off the bat of Tiana Bell, makes it a 2-0 game.
That ball had high exit velocity off her bat.
Oh, 2 to Kennedy. Another ball backing up Martinez. Long throw and makes it in time. But in back-to-back innings, Arkansas to the World Series. Texas ended up rattling off 2 in a row and made it to the Women's College World Series final. Fly ball down the left field line will tail foul. Off the bat of Kaya Altmaier. Bottom three in the order due up here for Texas, trailing Arkansas 2-zip.
Going back and looking at that Texas team that had Janae Jefferson and Mia Scott and Mary Iacopo and Courtney Day, who ended up going to play for Arkansas later in her career. And then also in the circle, they had Haley Dolcini and Estelle Check. So just a little trip down memory lane, thinking about that 2022 Super Regional. That was a banger.
Well, you think about the 2022 Super. You think about last year's Super in 2025. Game 3 against Ole Miss. You just have to win one to get to Oklahoma City. And really a couple of times, Arkansas, Amanda, has been heartbroken at the end of the postseason, unable to secure a spot in the Women's College World Series. And not to overstate what this series means, but it's a real opportunity for Courtney Deifel's club to gain some momentum against a top 5 team going into May.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that both of these teams are in a position to get a top 8 overall national seed still. When you look at D1 softball and Softball America bracketology.
Good bunt. It will move Altmaier to second base off the bat of J.C. Nichols. Almost beat the throw. And now a runner in scoring position for Texas.
A great play by Ella McDowell just to barehand this and get a speedy J.C. Nichols that any sacrifice bunt can turn into a hit. Bang bang play at first. Texas being really aggressive in this inning. Going to turn over the order and get a little rally going here, trying to get on the board. But Texas, a D1 softball and Softball America bracketology as the most recent. Texas 3 seed, Arkansas 4 seed, and they both agree on that. So in a really good position here in their last regular season series, going into the SEC tournament to be able to host a Super. If they win the regional that they would also host. It's not obviously that just an advancement. If you get a top 8 seed, you just get to host a Super 2. You have to win the regional that you have the ability to host as well.
And a couple of times over the last 5 years, Arkansas has been caught in a regional. It's something that has motivated this team with so many upperclassmen and returners from last year. Courtney Deifel told us that they almost felt like a trip to the World Series was taken from them last year. Had a couple of pitchers who were ill, battling food poisoning. They weren't at 100% strength. Lost to an Ole Miss team that had never before been to Oklahoma City. But 2 very strong resumes this year. Texas, of course, defending a national championship. Courtney Deifel in Arkansas trying to get to the mountaintop where Texas has been so often under Mike White. 1-2 count to Ashton Maloney. Good pitch by Robin Herron, who has looked so sharp through 2 2/3.
That's a big deal for Robin Herron to get this second out via strikeout and not let Texas advance their runner to third base. Changeup again, 4th strikeout. 3 out of 4 have been on her changeup. It is so difficult for lefties to hit against Herron, especially with 2 strikes. If you're a lefty hitting against Herron with 2 strikes, you're hitting .064 off of her. So basically, she gets 2 strikes against left-handed hitters, you're out. I mean, that is number 5 in the country batting average with 2 strikes, not just against lefties, but against righties and lefties. Number 5 in the country behind Pickens, Marjetko, Newer, that's the entire Tennessee pitching staff, and Vic Moten, the freshman for Alabama.
It's a weak ground ball to second base, well handled by Carly Davison. Herron pitches around the first hit of the game for Texas.
How fun is it to call pitches for Robin Herron, especially with 2 strikes?
Well, really fun. It's going to be even more fun now. No, I think, it's really nice. She has such great pitches, really good spin, the ability to change speeds in any count. So you really have so much confidence in any of her pitches in any count, but it always feels nice in the 2-strike count for sure. So.
Coach, appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Last time Arkansas played in Austin, 2016, Courtney Deifel's first game as the Hogs head coach. This program has achieved things that they never thought were possible prior to Courtney Deifel's arrival since 2016. Now with a 2-run lead on Texas, who they have beaten just once in the 9 meetings prior.
Yeah, things have definitely changed since 2016 in this Arkansas program because of Courtney Deifel, her coaching staff, and just getting Arkansas, as you mentioned, to places that it's never been. I mean, think about Arkansas was having big-time losing seasons in SEC play year after year after year, and then Courtney Deifel comes in, and now they're consistently grabbing a top 8 seed when the bracket comes out. Just so impressive what she's been able to do.
And consistently selling out Bogle Park, one of the great stadiums in the country.
It's such a great atmosphere. 2 SEC regular season titles that they got in 21 and 22. They've gotten a tournament championship that was on their own field when they hosted it. 4 super regional appearances too. 3 they host. And I do think, you know, unfortunately for Arkansas, they've had that success. It's just the elephant in the room of when are they going to make it to the Women's College World Series? That's the next step for this program, and they have the talent, the pitching, the coaching staff to be able to do that.
2-2 to Davison. Being at the Fayetteville Super last year, you could feel some of that tension and that weight in a Game 3 against Ole Miss that was just playing freely, not even expected to be there, right? With the underdog mentality.
Well, Ole Miss had a similar run that Texas had in 2022, of just being an unseeded team, winning the regional on the road, winning the super regional on the road, and then making it to the Women's College World Series. But Texas would then go on to compete for a national championship, and Ole Miss had a great run, but just make it to the World Series in itself is just so difficult to do, even when you're hosting.
Davison just foul. Well, that was well struck. She's put together a nice at-bat here against Tegan Cavan to start the 4th.
You know, I think that we see a lot of these teams that consistently make it to the World Series year after year, Matt, and they make it look easy, but making it to the Women's College World Series is not easy to do, and every year you feel so appreciative for it that you make it, even when you've been multiple times.
8th pitch of the at-bat. Cavan, of course, last year's most outstanding player, the Women's College World Series, and recently named a top 25 finalist for National Player of the Year. 61st pitch, fouled off.
This is such a good at-bat by Davidson, who's seeing the ball well. SEC Player of the Week, as you mentioned. Coming off such a great offensive week, Courtney Deifel calls Davidson a rock.
Having a career year at the plate, batting 100 points higher than she did last year in her first season at Arkansas after transferring in from Utah. Works the count full. th pitch of the at-bat. And Cavan wins that battle. 3rd strikeout of the night for Tegan Cavan, and 1 gone in the 4th.
Still a great at-bat, but Tegan Cavan showed some fight in that at-bat, working both sides of the plate and eventually just painting the outside corner. It's like a low rise ball out there and being able to get Davidson to swing underneath it. It's a great at-bat. Saw a lot of pitches in that AB. And one of the things that Coach White talked about for Tegan Cavan, just managing her workload, trying to keep her pitch count down, important, which is always difficult with a strikeout pitcher because it's at least going to take 3 pitches to strike somebody out. When you have a high strikeout rate like Cavan, you have a tendency to have high pitch counts, even without an 11 pitch at bat against you.
Through 207 innings last year. It was the 2nd most in the SEC behind Carlin Pickens. This year she's thrown more than what they set out to have her to throw prior to the postseason, but everything is tracked in the Texas organization, Amanda, from jump scores to power scores are you fully recovered after a start? And so Tegan Cavan, although she has eclipsed the number that they sort of had in mind for her before SEC tournament, still sharp, not showing any signs of fatigue.
There's just so many different ways for these coaches to check in and keep tabs on their players' health and fatigue and overall strength over the course of a long season that we didn't have back when I played. We did not do. It was more of like a, when you just like, I don't know, lick your finger and just throw your finger in the wind to see which way the wind is blowing. That's what it felt like. I feel like at times just taking care of our players back in the day. But now they have everything.
It also wasn't uncommon in your era to see somebody throw 200 innings before the postseason.
And well, with Texas's pitching staff too, every year that Tegan has been here, they've had different arms to go to behind her so that it hasn't just had to be only her freshman and sophomore and junior seasons. Lali Gutierrez is pitching really well right now, which is big with her being a senior and giving a completely different look than what Tegan Cavan does. And Hannah Wells, the freshman, has gotten a lot of experience behind the two upperclassmen in front of her on this pitching staff.
Full count to Italia Rio. Flared left side, back on it Martinez, 2 gone. Well, Saturday, number 25 Florida plays number 15 Oklahoma in the second game of a massive 3-game baseball series. That's Saturday night in Norman. We'll have it for you right here on the SEC Network. Coverage begins at 7 Eastern. 2 gone and the base is empty for Kaylee Wyckoff. Do you remember the most amount of innings you threw in a season? I
think it was over 200, like 220 or something. It was nothing compared to somebody like Monica Abbott, and Pat Osterman, and Danielle Laurie. Because I was lucky enough to have a co-ace that was my exact year, who was also an All-American every year that I pitched at A&M.
Chopper to second base. Good. Flips in time to first in a 1-2-3 inning for two. Leads it off for Texas here in the bottom of the 4th. In fact, he was almost giddy this week when talking about having an extra year with Katie Stewart, just a junior, and having one of the special seasons in Division I right now.
Every time she steps up to the plate, she is just taking big hacks. And I mean, we're talking about big hacks in the sense that the distance that is created with her home runs is just about 300 feet off of her bat at times. Which, just a reminder, left field is 200 feet. But that's the kind of pop that she has. And I asked Coach White a couple of weeks ago, why are Katie's home runs going so far? And he said so much about timing. Before, she would hook a lot of those balls foul toward the left side, but now she's just more on time. And it used to be a problem for her, just all those foul balls on the left side. Her timing is better. She's being able to hit balls the opposite way toward right center and right field and hitting all different types of pitches this year. She really does not have a weakness and has improved her weaknesses this year.
Comes into the night with a near 1,700 OPS. That tops the SEC, the toughest league in the country. Her 24 home runs, tied for top 5 in the nation. Trailing the likes of Kendall Wells, Megan Grant, Jordan Woolery. Goes down swinging. Second strikeout of Katie Stewart tonight for Robin Herron, and her 5th in the circle tonight for Arkansas.
Remember, Robin Herron is one of the toughest pitchers to hit against with 2 strikes. She drops this changeup down in the dirt and gets Katie Stewart to chase. First at bat, Katie Stewart took a changeup and a full count for a strikeout. Now she chases it. That pitch was clearly in the back of her mind.
First pitch swinging, Viv Martinez, deep at short. Play made by Italia Rio. Well, Arkansas this year, Amanda, is 38-1. when leading by 2 runs or more. That lone loss came in Game 1 of the Oklahoma series 2 weekends ago when they lost Dakota Kennedy to an injury midway through the game. Otherwise, they've been perfect, and a lot of that credit goes to this elite pitching staff led by Robin Herron.
Well, they've been getting some great innings and starts and time in the circle from Peyton Burnham behind Robin Herron, too. Burnham, just a sophomore. And Arkansas has just been so good with a multi-run lead, especially because of their great defense. Being able to make plays behind their pitching staff whenever their team has the lead. I mean, this is one of the best fielding percentage, or one of the best defenses in terms of fielding percentage in the country, that play lockdown defense once they get a lead. It's just tough to get back into the game against them. They don't make a lot of mistakes.
Just 22 errors this year for Arkansas. Top 10 in the nation in fielding percentage. And a program record 34 double plays turned. Been quite the year defensively for the Hogs. Burnham looking on from the bullpen. 2-1 pitch. Upstairs to Reese Atwood. And if there's one player in the Texas lineup Mike White would like to see unlocked a little bit in this final regular season series, it is Reese Atwood. Like that. Line drive single to extend the inning. And the first really well-struck ball of the night for Texas.
It's good hands to go up and get that rise ball. Looking for a pitch up in the zone, that rise ball, a pitch that Robin Herron likes to lean on. That pitch was up, but Reese Atwood just goes up and gets it.
Passes the bat to Leanne Good. Tying run at the plate, bottom 4, 2 outs. Ball one to the starting second baseman, who began the year on one of the biggest tears in the nation, was hitting well above 400, has cooled a little bit, but still having a career year at the plate, batting .379.
Because of the way that she's played the last couple of seasons, earned herself a golden ticket from the AUSL. So that means that she will be drafted on May 4th on ESPN2, become a part on one of the 6 teams in the AUSL.
Oh, what a catch at second base. Carly Davison snatching that out of midair. We could see 37. OU and Texas A&M coming up at 9 Eastern on SEC Network. Wells just 1 homer away from tying the all-time single-season home run record.
Every time she steps up, she has the ability, just like Katie Stewart, to just hit it a mile. A record in front of her that has been in place for over 30 years. Megan Grant right there. Of course, Jocelyn Allo, prolific home run hitter for Oklahoma. Lauren Chamberlain, that just seems to be prolific home run hitters synonymous with OU. Now adding Kendall Wells. I mean, and Matt doing it as a freshman. My goodness, a freshman doing this already has just been unbelievable to watch. And so many more games left. It's not even May yet.
I would say we may see a record set this season that's untouchable given the pace that she's on. However, the trend of the sport over the last few years, you just saw it on that graphic, since 2022, a handful of young ladies have come very close to 37.
And a lot of just program records being beaten this year as well. I mean, Katie Stewart beating Reese Atwood's Texas record, Megan Grant beating Stacey Newman's longtime record at UCLA. And then Kendall Wells beating Jocelyn Allo. I mean, this is happening all over the country. It is just by far an offensive explosion. That's why it's kind of fun to have a pitching matchup like we have tonight in a 2-0 game. Dare I say a pitcher's duel here in a low-scoring game.
Miller into left, 1 away. 8 of the 18 plate appearances tonight for the Hogs have gone 5 pitches or more. Haven't necessarily seen either offense really explode tonight, but Arkansas has done a fantastic job of working deep counts and being opportunistic in the right moments against Tegan Cavan.
But that catch, the defense for Arkansas in the last inning, was absolutely pivotal by Carly Davidson.
Cue ball off the end of the bat of Johnson. Leaping throw. Not in time from J.C. Nichols. Mike White wondering if he should challenge here.
I think he's even unsure of maybe what the call was on the field, and then he found out that she was called safe. I'm like, yeah, I want to challenge. I thought on the field she was out, watching it live, so I'll be curious to see some looks.
First base umpire Robbie Guest confirming the challenge on the field by Mike White. Always a bang-bang play when Reagan Johnson's in the box.
Yeah, we talk about a defense getting ready for a bang-bang play, but don't you think as an umpire, if you're over at first base, like you know the scatter report on the other team too. You're like, all right, Reagan Johnson's up. It's going to be my time to make a call here. That's
tie goes to the runner,
yeah,
right?
That is about as close as it can get. Ooh,
Good stretch at first by Katie Stewart.
really good stretch. Look how close her foot is and still how far away the ball is in this frame. I think this one could get overturned. Great look with the Hawkeye system that really is able to slow things down. I think she's going to be out.
After further review, the call on the field has been changed. The runner is out.
So a successful challenge for Mike White, and the second out of the inning.
I would feel so good, you know, as a coach, as a player, athlete, you love to win. But when you do the challenge thing and you win a challenge, that's like a win within the game. You know, I'd feel so good about that. I'd want to know what my total is, what my score is for my challenges. I'd be really into it.
What's your success rate?
Yeah.
Well, he had a pretty good view over there in the third base dugout.
Yeah.
It's a big reversal because not only are there now 2 outs, you also take off arguably the most dangerous base runner in this series off of first base. And Reagan Johnson, 0-1 count to Brinley Bain.
Good take by Brinley Bain. She had struck out on pretty much that exact changeup, the exact same shape of a changeup in her first at bat. Excuse me, in her second at bat, she had a double off of Tegan in her first at bat, and Tegan struck her out. You know, they talk about Brinley Bain and how nobody works harder than Brinley Bain. I've heard DJ Gasso, the hitting coach for Arkansas, talk about it. I have heard Courtney Deifel talk about it. Just as a freshman, there's DJ Gasso, their hitting coach, but just as a freshman, pushing everybody to work harder, putting in the time, putting in the effort to have a tremendous freshman year for Arkansas this season.
Courtney Deifel told us she might be the hardest working player she's ever been around. Beyond her years, in terms of her mentality and her understanding of the game, again, just a freshman. And a top 25 finalist for National Freshman of the Year. Ahead in the count on Tegan Cavan. After the visit to the circle by her best friend Reese Atwood. Trying to settle in here and get the final out of the fifth. Cannot. And it's a 2-out walk drawn by Bain, her second time aboard tonight.
Put together a great at-bat after that strikeout. It's really easy as a freshman after you strike out to put more pressure on yourself in that next at-bat, especially against a pitcher like Tegan Cavan, an All-American pitcher, but just a veteran-type AB to pass it back to Ella McDowell after 2 quick outs for Arkansas.
First walk issued by Texas pitching in the last 30 innings. Snaps the longest streak over the last 5 seasons for Longhorns pitchers.
Well, their pitching and defense has been really good lately. There has been a span defensively where they have not committed an error.
Last 7 games, they've gone without committing an error. Errorless tonight. 1-1 count here to Ella McDowell.
Ella McDowell is dangerous. She is a gamer and has been since her freshman year last year.
Was the first freshman in program history last year to earn NFCA All-American honors. Reigning third-teamer. Looking for her first hit of the night. Runner aboard, tuning well. Zaltmeyer and Nichols to the updated standings after the Florida victory. Oklahoma, of course, starting a big series later tonight against Texas A&M. And here tonight, the beginning of a 3-game set. Top 10 showdown between Arkansas and Texas with a lot to play for in terms of seeding in the SEC tournament. Both teams still have a shot to be a top 4 seed and get that coveted double bye in Lexington next week.
And so series are moved up to Thursday, Friday, Saturday series in the SEC for this final series in SEC play, just making some extra time before the SEC tournament starts. So playing games will be on Tuesday, and games will continue Wednesday. And if you have a double bye, you don't play until Thursday.
A couple extra nights in your own bed never hurt anybody. One down on the ground out by Hannah Wells. What do you do in the 48 hours between the end of the regular season and the start of the SEC tournament? What's your like protocol to get ready for that
as a broadcaster?
Bonanza?
Get to Lexington Sunday night, and then coach calls all Monday, getting ready for the teams that will have. They're all sprinkled throughout to be able to be prepared for the teams Tuesday that we'll have, and then more calls for the teams that we'll have Wednesday. So a lot of prep work for a lot of teams, a lot of games.
Sounds like a lot of time spent in a hotel room.
A lot of time on a plane, a lot of time in a hotel room, which I think we're both familiar with at this point of the season with all the games that we've called together. Been all over the place. Been a great season.
Indeed, it has been. A lot of parity in this league this year. Even Oklahoma, number 1 in the country, atop the SEC standings, they too have been vulnerable at times this year.
It seemed like after they went through that span of losing 3 of 4, Texas, Oklahoma State, and then a loss to Arkansas, they started to play a little bit better after that. Kind of like they got woken up a little bit of a lull for them.
Well, we just saw them for a 3-game series in Georgia, against Georgia rather. It's the first time Georgia had been swept in an SEC series since 2021. Meanwhile, Robin Herron is cruising through 4 2/3, her 6th strikeout.
Can you believe she's not even thrown 50 pitches yet? Change up, a little bit down. She can throw that change up through the strike zone when she needs to. She can locate that as almost like an off-speed drop ball to get you to chase it down.
What do you feel like she's doing so well tonight against this high-powered Texas offense?
Curve and change she's leaning on a lot. I haven't seen a ton of rise balls that she's had to go to, just relying on her curve ball on both sides of the plate. And that little backdoor action, she can move that pitch outside. But I feel like every time I look up, she's working from ahead, throwing a lot of strikes early in the count, going right at these Texas hitters.
Gets a chopper at third. McDowell makes the play. 1, 2, 3, 5th inning for Robin Herron. Arkansas carries a 2-0 lead. And one of those hits that found the outfield came off the bat of Tiana Bell. That was back in the 3rd. Drove in one of 2 runs tonight for Arkansas on a 2-out RBI single. Caban back in the circle. Has thrown 87 pitches tonight for Texas.
Big 2-out RBI there for Bell, and it makes me think about the 2-out line drive that was stolen from Leanne Good whenever Texas had a runner on. I mean, in a close game like this, we've had so many high-scoring games, extra base hits. If we keep going back to all the offense, but in a low-scoring game like this, that defense has just been pivotal for Arkansas. And it's been the difference is a mistake to Tiana Bell and that single, and Texas just unable defensively to make a play. And Arkansas scoring in 2 different innings, right? Capitalizing on those free passes that were given to them in the second.
Kavan hit 2 batters to start the second inning. It was only the 3rd time in her career that she had hit multiple batters in a single inning. And Bell crushes this to deep left center. It is caught on the run by Kyle Altmaier.
And she
hung up there a long time.
It did, and she had a long way to go because Caden Henry was playing basically more toward right center. So Kyle Altmaier, that's going to be her ball all day based off of where Caden Henry was positioned. So right now, Caden Henry is seeing center field, more toward the middle of the field. But when when Tiana Bell was up, Caden Henry was about right here. So she knew that that was going to be Altmaier's ball.
I feel like the ball has had quite the same flight tonight. No wind, a little bit sticky after all the rain in the area this morning. And a chillier night than usual in late April here in Texas.
Having Dakota Kennedy right back in the middle of the order for Arkansas, just her presence is going to be big with the 14 home runs, 43 RBIs. She was crushing before she got injured in Game 1 of the Oklahoma series on Friday night. In the 15 games before her injury, she was hitting .439, 5 home runs, 19 RBIs, and a 1,500 OPS. Absolutely on fire. Several clutch hits, clutch moments. A walk-off home run against Florida.
She too has received the golden ticket. Will be playing in the AUSL next year. And one of a handful of impact transfers that Courtney Deifel has brought in to bolster this Hogs offense. 2-2 count with 1 down to the base is clear. Down she goes swinging. 4th strikeout of the night for Kavan, 2 away.
Pulling the string on this changeup that she's thrown almost this exact same pitch over and over again. Her consistency with her changeup tonight has definitely stood out to me, being able to throw it right below the knees, get it to fall off. A lot of confidence in that pitch tonight that she has to have against good offenses.
Despite the 2 runs on the board for Arkansas, it has been a very sharp night, for the most part, for Tegan Kavan. Just a couple of mistakes. Those 2 hit batters and a 2-out ball left high in the zone to Tiana Bell. The difference in the game at this point. Order looming for Texas. Down
to 6 strikeouts, but her defense has played exceptional behind her.
Just 50 pitches tonight as she starts the 6th against Ashton Maloney with a ball away. Through 14 pitches in the 4th inning. That was the most in a single inning tonight for Robin Herron.
So top of the lineup will be coming up again for the 3rd time against Herron in this inning, and it'll be telling. You have veterans up there who will be looking to make adjustments, who know that they're down by 2 runs and have seen her twice.
Mike White told us in his 4th inning interview that he wanted to see his offense 2nd and 3rd time through the order be a little bit more aggressive at the plate, not let those close pitches go by. 1-2 count to Maloney.
I also just don't think that Herron has made a lot of mistakes. I mean, she's not thrown a lot of pitches that have up the chances of her making a mistake. I mean, she's only thrown 54 pitches. And when you're efficient like that and in a groove, you're really confident, trusting your stuff, hitting corners, and it does not bode for a lot of mistakes for Texas's hitters. Miller.
A little bit shaken up after that ball in the dirt.
Failing that one.
3-year starter behind the plate for Arkansas. And so good in the dirt. According to Courtney Deifel, it's one of the things she admires as a former collegiate catcher about Kennedy Miller. She's done an excellent job this year handling the staff that has so often been the front runners in the SEC in many categories.
Well, the pitchers have to feel like they can throw pitches in the dirt, especially with 2 strikes, especially if you're Robin Herron, who likes to throw her changeup down the dirt. And if you have a catcher that has a bad attitude about it or isn't good at blocking it, then it creates hesitation in the pitcher's mind to throw it there. They trust Kennedy Miller, the entire staff does, that she's going to block it.
7th strikeout tonight for Herron. Well, Sunday, the Rally Cap crew will break down the SEC baseball and softball weekend. Highlights, analysis, and interviews. They also get you set for the upcoming week with a look at the best matchups, including what's coming ahead in the SEC softball tournament. Coverage begins at 6 Eastern. Third time through the order now, Amanda Caden Henry with 1 down.
Well, Haley McClenny on Rally Cap, the 4-time All-American from Alabama, does such great breakdowns on Rally Cap. So I love to watch that show. It's so fun. They have a good time, and her breakdowns are tremendous.
Robin Herron set down the top of this Texas order. 1, 2, 3 in each of the first 2 innings.
She's been going right at Caden Henry. I mean, I feel like this matchup, Caden Henry and Robin Herron, Caden Henry has just not seen the ball well out of the hand of Herron at all. So you see Mike White, as Caden Henry quickly gets down 0-2, just to call a timeout to give her a breath, because her at-bats have been very quick. She struck out against her in her first debut, and then a 4-3 in her second at-bat. Just this lefty-on-lefty matchup with 2 strikes is extremely difficult for left-handed hitters.
Top 6 in the Texas order have managed just 1 hit tonight. Off of Robin Herron, that was a Reese Atwood 2-out single in the 4th. Katie Stewart 0 for 2 tonight with 2 strikeouts. Waiting on deck for Texas. Fly ball left side, shallow. Wyckoff drifting in, 2 down. And in those first 2 innings, Amanda, it was just the 2nd time this year that Texas has been held hitless through the first 2. The only other time was against Texas State in a 1-run victory for the Longhorns back on March 25th.
If I remember right, Maddie Azua pitched that game for Texas State, also a left-handed pitcher like Robin Herron.
Look at that softball knowledge. Stewart comes up hacking.
So careful right here, because one swing just gives Texas some momentum late in this game with the middle of the order coming up, cuts the lead in half. That pitcher's duel feeling where one pitch changes a game.
That was crushed, but well foul by Katie Stewart.
It's an example of that long foul home run that Mike White was talking about. That Katie Stewart has just been better at keeping those types of hits fair by being more on time, by being more inside of the ball. Somebody threw the foul ball back out into left field.
From the street.
And it's wild to me, Matt, that cars still park behind left field. I
don't know why you would.
I mean, you're just setting yourself up.
That's the danger zone out there.
Left
for
field,
windshield
center field.
repair.
My goodness.
0-2 to Stewart. Can she get a hold of one here? Viv Martinez due up next. Reese Atwood waiting patiently in the hole. The toughest part of the Texas lineup with 2 outs and a 2-0 deficit. Full count. Stewart was down 0-2. Thank you very much, Dari. Looking forward to that one. Everybody will be tuned in, watching very closely to each Kendall Wells at bat. Final inning here in Austin. Matt Schumacher, Amanda Scarborough with you. 2-0 lead for Arkansas, seeking their 3rd top 5 road victory of the season. Have one on the road at Alabama, another at Oklahoma. And still very much in the picture for a top 4 seed at the SEC tournament. They need to win at least 2 games here this weekend and get some help across the conference.
Do you think A&M's going to pitch to Kendall Wells?
I do. I think the trend we've seen this year is teams aggressively going after Kendall Wells.
It's interesting, isn't it? She's only walked 11 times in SEC play for a hitter. I think she's hit 14 home runs in SEC play alone. And teams are choosing to pitch to her, which is very interesting because they play with fire because she does have a good amount of strikeouts and will chase a little bit.
How much of it do you think is the fact that she's either kind of been in SEC play, home run or strikeout, and how much of it is how dangerous the rest of the lineup is around her?
I kind of think it's a mix, 50-50 for sure, because of the rest of the Oklahoma lineup can still beat you with the home run. The player like Gabby Garcia or Isabella Emerling, I mean, they have, 20 home runs that are usually going to be behind her. Ella Parker, somebody hitting behind her that has almost as many home runs, but I don't know, maybe you just feel like you have a better chance to strike her out, so you try. I don't know, it's interesting.
That game coming up next right here on the SEC Network. Meanwhile, 4th free pass of the night. 2 walks, 2 hit batters from Tegan Cavan. Natalia Rio aboard and a 1-strike count to Kaylee Wyckoff.
And the last time that they had a leadoff free pass, that was Dakota Kennedy, and she came around to score. So Arkansas has scored in the 2 innings, in the 2nd and the 3rd. Both times they got their leadoff on, they scored.
Wyckoff responsible for 1 of the 2 runs tonight. RBI ground out in the 2nd inning. 0-2.
You know, Tegan Cavan's changeup is just going to be so important for her in the postseason. You saw the way that Wyckoff just took that rise ball, almost knowing that it's going to come because you've seen that rise ball for freshman, sophomore, and junior seasons for Tegan. And that changeup is going to be key for Cavan. Like that. Just being able to mix it in, throwing it at just a perfect height. It changes their eye level. It changes their timing. It makes her rise ball look that much better. She's thrown that changeup a lot tonight against Arkansas. I can't wait to go back and see just the exact percentage for how much she uses that pitch tonight when it's all said and done. I feel like it's going to be higher than her season average by a good bit.
Wyckoff caught. That's short. Martinez cannot double up Rio, but a nice play by the junior at shortstop, 1 down.
She's been so smooth at shortstop with her glove, picking short hops, moving into this line drive, got a great read off the bat. Her first step was perfect, even thought she had a chance to make a double play, but Vivi Martinez, it's just crazy to think she was not playing shortstop for Texas last year when they won a national championship, and that they still won it without their starting shortstop, who has been the mainstay since she stepped on campus.
Missed all of last year with a knee injury. healthy, confident this year. Such a steadying presence for Mike White's ball club. Defending the program's first national title a season ago. Tegan Cavan will pass the ball to her teammate. Wells will come in to relieve with one down and one on. After 6 1/3 through 105 pitches, 2 earned runs on 3 hits. Really, it was the 4 free passes, 2 hit batters, 2 walks that got Tegan in trouble. She is responsible for the runner at first in Natalia Rijo as Hannah Wells, the true freshman, comes in to try to keep this a 2-run game.
And Hannah Wells has gotten better in both aspects of her game. A pitcher who can swing it in a big way for this Texas offensive lineup and has just grown in the circle behind Citlali Gutierrez and Tegan Cavan. Big moment here for her to get to throw in a close game against this lineup. Every moment when you're a freshman, you get to pitch in moments like this, you just grow a ton. Love the fact that Mike White is putting her into this situation against a lineup like Arkansas, down by 2.
The reigning National Gatorade Player of the Year. Behind in the count now to Kennedy Miller, 3-0 with the top of the Hogs lineup looming. Reagan Johnson on deck. And a walk on 4 pitches. Second free pass of the inning for Arkansas and a runner in scoring position. And is Tegan Cavan going to come back into the game here?
Looks like it.
That's the shortest break in the history of breaks. Cavan sits for 1 batter and now comes back in to face the top of the Arkansas lineup for the 4th time tonight.
Yeah, probably like the matchup with Kennedy Miller and the Hannah Wells drop ball, trying to roll her into a double play, but didn't get even a strike thrown by Hannah Wells. So now 2 on for the top of the order for Arkansas. Just not what Texas was hoping for. With that Hannah Wells drop ball and her off-speed curveball, just a large chance for Arkansas to hit into a double play, but did not get that.
So now 2 on and 1 out for Reagan Johnson, who has twice grounded out tonight and once reached on an infield single, later came around to score.
So they have the big outfield shift. There's 1, 2, 3 outfielders, and right field is completely open out there. Large hole if Reagan Johnson sends it that way. But Texas playing the odds that she's going to hit it to the left side, and Caden Henry, who normally is in center field. Here's Caden Henry, your center fielder. She's kind of playing that short fielder position that you see whenever there's 4 outfielders, like in slow pitch softball.
Take me into Reagan Johnson's mentality here. Do you try something different to beat the shift, or do you just go up there and do you?
I would just do me. I have not been a slapper with the speed of Reagan Johnson, but I would just try to do me, and it's just such an interesting approach now. Altmaier.
This game 1 of the Oklahoma series. They have led 2-0 for most of the night. Meanwhile, Texas and their great offense have rarely been shut out at home. In fact, prior to the shutout loss at home to Oklahoma State and OU, their last shutout loss in this park was in 2022.
That was before this senior class got here.
Yes.
That we were talking about Bree Satwood and Leanne Good and Ashley Maloney.
2 shutout losses at home in the last month for Texas. They have faced great pitching over that stretch. Of course, they played 13 top 20 teams. This is the part of the order, though, you wanted to play it if you're Mike White. 3, 4, and 5. Martinez, Atwood, good. 2-run deficit, not insurmountable for a team that is second in the SEC in runs scored behind only Oklahoma since league play began.
It's a great at-bat by Vivi Martinez, too, who is not struck out against Heron, which is a feat in itself with this tough lefty-on-lefty matchup. She has 2 strikes, battled off a couple of pitches to work it to 2-2.
Robin Heron has been sensational tonight, has set down 7 in a row since a 2-out single by Reese Atwood in the 4th. That was the last Texas base runner to reach. Martinez sends it into right field, and the tying run will come to the plate in the form of Reese Atwood.
This ball, what a great at bat by Martinez to take the changeups that Heron wanted her to swing at. It's her best strikeout pitch with 2 strikes. Them to work the count deeper and get one sweeter and just barrels it up to the right side to lead off the bottom of the 7th for the Horns.
Reese Atwood has 1 of 3 hits tonight as Courtney Deifel comes out of the dugout. Her ace has been so sharp tonight, Amanda. How do you handle Reese Atwood, 3rd time facing her this evening?
I actually think that they might be making a pitching change here, bringing in Peyton Burnham.
That's how you handle it.
That is how you're going to
throw a different arm in there.
It is answered. Peyton Burnham will enter into this game, and she's been throwing very well recently, but just wants to be able to mix up the different looks to the middle of the Texas order coming up, especially after the way that Vivi Martinez saw the ball out of the hand of Heron to lead off this inning.
8 strikeouts tonight on 74 pitches. Heron passes the ball to the reigning freshman All-American Peyton Burnham.
She'll give a different look. Great ERA. I mean, if you have an ERA under 2 this year and you've thrown a significant amount of innings like Peyton Burnham has, especially in the SEC, that is a big-time ERA and tells you a lot about Peyton Burnham. But she's going to lean on both her rise ball and her drop ball, and will mix in a changeup. The rise ball is going to be the pitch that she will go to the most. Drop ball second most, and then she will mix in a changeup. Double play opportunity with the runner at first base and Reese Atwood at the plate. Maybe lean on her drop ball a little bit more in this situation. Remember, Arkansas has one of the best defenses in the country.
Burnham has allowed just 3 earned runs over the last 31 innings of work. Her ERA in April, .68. She has been as good as they come against the toughest competition this year for Arkansas. Atwood in the center. It is caught on the run by Johnson. And 1 hops to throw in the first. Well, Martinez thought that sounded pretty good off the bat of Atwood, as did this crowd at McCombs Field. And instead, 1 out.
Yeah, that was a hard hit, great swing by Reese Atwood. Just Reagan Johnson can cover a ton of ground out there.
Mike White calls time. We're going to see a pinch runner. Viv Martinez, not much of a base stealer. Wallace will come into pinch run at first. With Leanne good at the plate and one down. Run aboard for Texas in the 7th.
Texas is swinging so freely in this inning. That pitch leaked out or back toward the middle of the plate, and Good just unleashes on it. Martinez, Atwood, and now Good have struck the ball so well. They are getting their barrel to these pitches. This is where experience comes into play in games like this, and your home field down by 2, trying to win a game and walk off.
By the way, those of you joining us here on SEC Network looking for Oklahoma, Texas A&M, that has begun on the app. We will get you out to Davis Diamond right here on SEC Net at the conclusion of this game.
Too many throws probably making the Arkansas coaching staff and dugout a little bit tight, but actually Peyton Burnham will exit out of this game, but still got the out with the speed of Wallace. It can really rush you to make these throws. A lot of throws, and Leanne Good advances to third base. That is a big, critical second out as Robin Herron will re-enter this game.
Still the tying run aboard. Wells will be pinch run for at first base. Taylor Anderson comes in as Kaya Altmaier will come to the plate. And take on Robin Herron. Altmaier reached on an infield single back in the 3rd, also struck out. One of 8 strikeouts tonight by Robin Herron.
It was critical, too, that in that rundown, Hannah Wells did not get herself to second base. Kind of looking to see what Leanne Good was going to do.